Hi, folks. It's New Year's Eve 2013. My wife's at work. I had a nice rainy day. Thought I'd make this video cover some topics I've been thinking about for a long time. Um, so here we go. Thanks a lot for watching. It's one of the tenets of the religion of capitalism that a man's worth, his status in the community, his right to a home, his right to a standard of living of some sort, is all dependent on his job, is all dependent on what he does and how he makes money. What do you do for a living? It's practically the first thing that anybody will ask you once you get to know them in America. Modern right-wing political speech is soaked in the idea that work and human value are equal. You hear them, they go on about the takers. These are people who don't work. Maybe they're insane, maybe they're too stupid, maybe they're infirmed, or, otherwise incapable of working. That doesn't matter. They don't work. They're takers. They don't deserve food. They don't deserve housing. They don't deserve even rudimentary medical care. On the other hand, you have the makers. These are the people that have hefty incomes. They have good jobs. They deserve literally everything. There should be no limitation on how much money, how many resources or services they can control with their money. They deserve everything and anything. Hard work is used to justify the most obscene accumulations of wealth, though honestly, that is largely a myth. I know lots of people who break themselves working 2-3 jobs and hardly make ends meet. And I know some other people who make scads of money and are very well thought of who hardly do anything. Maybe a few phone calls here and there, balance that portfolio, move a few stocks around. That's about it. You don't crack a sweat and you're out on the golf course by noon. The association of work and human worth is actually a relatively new thing. During the Middle Ages, how hard you work had nothing to do with it. Your value was determined by what family you were born into. If you were born a nobleman, you had a God-given right to rule and to live a life of luxury, and it didn't matter what kind of lazy, drunken, perverted moron you were still the Lord. And if you were born a peasant, it didn't matter how smart you were, how strong you were still a peasant, and you remained a peasant for the rest of your life. It's been proposed that the idea that your worth as a human is related to how hard you work comes from the Puritans. The Puritans read their Bibles. They hardly read anything else. And they took it very much to heart that when Adam was thrown out of the Garden of Eden, God said to him, your punishment is you'll have to earn your living by the sweat of your brow. It is kind of convenient that this philosophy became popular just about the time the Industrial Revolution started, and it fit very well with the needs for labor on the part of the mill owners. Just as a point of historical interest in the South, people down there, they tried to reestablish the old medieval system of value by importing slaves. Slaves did all the work. People of quality did no work. They sat around sipping mint juleps, gambling their fortunes away, molesting their slaves. Well, anyway, the Civil War kind of put an end to that little social experiment, and that's kind of another video. So When I was in college, I was turned on to a book by a German economic philosopher named Herbert Marcuse, in which he predicted that in the future all the work would be done by machines. People would just no longer have to work, and there would be, the whole problem would be how to spend your leisure time. Well, increasingly, that prediction is coming true. It's happening right before our eyes. Um, Even back in the 1890s, it was starting. About 150 miles from where I'm sitting, they grow wheat on these huge 10,000 acre farms. In the old days, it used to take 20 men and probably as many mules to pull a harvester across that ground. Now, one guy in a computerized combine can do the same work that 20 of those harvesters used to do. When you drive through eastern Washington, you come to one ghost town after another. These are where the people who used to work the land used to live, but they've all moved to the city because the jobs were mechanized, dried up. There was no way to make a living in and live in the country, and so they all went to the city. In our own lifetimes, we've seen the auto industry become mechanized. Much of the electronics industry is no longer, people don't solder that stuff together. It's all done by robots. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. I have seen in recent reports that Google has a computer-controlled car, which has driven over 100,000 miles and never had an accident. The only time the car has been damaged is when a human driver backed into the car in a parking lot. So the computer car was just parked and somebody else backed into it. Anyway, once this technology hits the economy, there is going to be a huge disruption. Literally, millions of people make a living driving. Truck drivers, cab drivers, delivery drivers, in-city delivery drivers. All those people are going to be out of work. It's going to be in everybody's and every business's interest simply to mechanize the driving function, turn it over to a machine. Typically, the people who drive truck, they're not very well educated. They don't have a lot of skills. That's why they're truck drivers. All those people, and this is going to be a significant chunk of the American working population, are going to be out of a job. And it's not like there's going to be a whole lot of other job opportunities for them. Let's face it, we can't all be doctors or lawyers or computer programmers or hip hop DJs or NBA basketball stars. How many massage therapists do you suppose this economy can support anyway? Technology is fast making the equation human worth, human value equals human productivity meaningless. And unless we find another way of valuing human life, we are then faced with, well, what are we going to do with this huge group of basically worthless humanity? People that have no jobs and will never have any jobs. We're going to have to accept the fact that the people who are employed, the makers, are going to have to feed, clothe, and house the rest of us, the people who have no jobs, and the surplus population. It's either that, or we're going to have to find a way of getting rid of this surplus population. In the old days, we could send the less desirables in our society off to war. But nowadays, even war is a highly technological activity. You cannot even join the military if you can't read or write. It's not like the good old days. You just slapped a rifle in somebody's hand and told them to charge up a hill. Of course, the Republicans have done their best to simply incarcerate a good portion of the population. And considering that now sending people to prison, it's now in some states been largely privatized. It's an industry. People make money by doing this. The more people that get sent to prison, the more money the prison corporation owners make. The trouble with that is it's kind of expensive. Takes $30,000-$40,000 a year to keep somebody in prison, and I really honestly don't see what is the difference financially of whether I'm paying taxes to keep somebody in prison or I'm paying taxes simply to provide them with a living. That same $30,000 or $40,000, that makes a nice, comfortable living. Why not just give them the money? Let them sit around the shack and watch Honey Boo Boo. I don't know as you'd be any worse off. The bottom line is that technological innovation is undermining the tenets by which we value human life in this country for the last 200 years. It is no longer, and it becomes increasingly impossible to equate human worth with human productivity. Machines are now doing a lot of the production, and sooner or later they're going to be doing all the production. And unless we can come up with some better, deeper, more profound way of valuing human life, we're headed for a huge, some sort of civil war. I really don't think the people who essentially no longer have any input into the society from a production point of view, I don't think they're just going to sit there and starve to death quietly. Do you? Anyway, we need to I think we need to put this whole system of human valuation aside and come to a deeper understanding of the value of human life. Thanks a lot for watching. Good luck in the new year. I hope it's going to be a good one. We'll see you down the road. Bye.